How's everyone doing? I'll quickly introduce myself. My name is Janet. I am US educated, but raised in Taiwan. So very honored to get a chance to talk to you all at my homeland. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the story of Sui. So Sui came out of a series of research papers that were written at Facebook back in 2020. This is the original research team that built the DM blockchain. And by the time the team got to this next generation consensus, Facebook was starting to pull back on blockchain investments. So the team left Facebook, and from there, Sui was born. It is created from 0 to 1, from research to production blockchain based on innovations. So there's a few problems that we set out to solve from day one. Like, I think you all know that with blockchain, gas congestion pricing is a problem. Performance, scalability is a problem. So we wanted to solve that from day one. We know that Web3 doesn't have enough developers. So we wanted to make the developer experience very easy, very pleasant. We know that the security of smart contract is existential for Web3 growth. So Move, even though it is a chain-agnostic language, it is in the very center of Sui. Lastly, we also know that today's users have a very high bar for user experience. So we're constantly trying to find easier and better ways for apps to provide Web2 caliber user experience. So I would like to showcase some of Sui's growth and also records since our mainnet launch in May of this year. So as you can see, our total value locked has now exceeded 150 million TVL. We now have cumulatively in the lifetime of mainnet over 1.8 billion transactions. That is now greater than the total transaction recorded on Bitcoin. We have over 8 million activated wallets as of December. And we also have 0 gas fees because of the usage of sponsored transactions from day one, where users do not have to explicitly consider gas fees. I want to point you to this graph on the right. There's a blue line, and the blue line is showing you the transaction within a particular epoch and the peak TPS. As that number goes up, and this is real data based on real periods on mainnet, you can see this orange line. This orange line is the reference gas price during every epoch. And as you can see, while the transaction count actually climbs, our gas price is able to stay constant. And this is one of our innovative tokenomics gas design that alleviates the pricing problem. Now I want to talk about our latest user experience innovation. It's called ZK Login. ZK Login is a marriage between zero knowledge proof and the problem of mass consumer onboarding. So we're all very familiar with mnemonics. This is very okay for a technically savvy audience. However, if your neighbor cannot use it, your friends cannot use it, then it cannot become a relevant technology for the world. So when a regular user gets started into a Web3 experience, they have to figure out what wallets am I going to download. And then now I have to fiddle with my passkeys, and I have to fiddle with my actual keys and mnemonics. And then I got to go buy some coins before I can have my first Web3 experience. By then, you have lost 90% of your user base already. So we don't believe the current state of mechanism will actually create the real Web3. So now comes ZK Login. If you have an email address, if you have a Google login, if you have a Facebook login, you can now have a Sui account. And it's transparent, and it's seamless, and it's automatically created for you. So I'm going to show you guys an ad that we created to highlight this process. All right. Now let's get into it a little bit deeper. So when you have ZK login, what that means is that you can have a uniform experience that are embedded everywhere. And as you move from your laptop to your mobile device, as you move to maybe your TV, if it's a smart device, ZK login follows you everywhere. You don't have to worry about how do I find another way to access my wallet in a different surface. There's a few very important principles that we focus on when ZK login was designed. We want it to be easy for developers to integrate. We also want it to be very easy for actually users to use. It is self-custodial. So what that means is that we actually have the privacy preservation that both regular consumers and also users really care about. And Google, if you're using a google.com login, Google does not know that you've signed a transaction. Google does not know anything about your transaction history. And Google does not know what assets you actually have on chain. And that is the privacy preservation that is at the heart of Web3. Native support. It is not some kind of middleware that you have to figure out how to install, how to download. It's native on the L1, and it just works, and it is seamless. We believe ZK login is the foundation for our identity layer on Web3. Today's identity is Web2 based, and that has its shortfalls, which is what led to Web3. We believe ZK login could be the foundation that brings the security and privacy that's at the heart of Web3 to everyday Web2 users. So how do I explain this to myself like I'm a 5-year-old? So you log in into Google, and you now have an OAuth token that represents your login. And a zero-knowledge proof is applied over that token to give you the privacy-preserving properties. And then now you generate an address that can be linked to your application. And then this address can now be used to view your assets, to manage your assets, to generate assets. One thing I really want to call out, even though we can explain it in the Eli 5, this is based on actual research. When we first worked on ZK login, our cryptography team went to several academic conferences to talk about the work and their invention of ZK login. And this made waves in the ZK academic circle. Because historically, when people think of ZK, they think of this as a very esoteric, very mysterious and algorithmic thing that only cryptographers can actually understand. But we actually managed to take a very cryptographic-centric innovation and bring that to an everyday consumer problem. So that was very exciting to the ZK community and the cryptographer community. This is not a gimmick, this is actually research-based. And our team presented at the Stanford Blockchain Week, and they also presented at the ACM conference. So this is academically validated. So it's ready, it's on mainnet, there's an SDK, there's a very thorough set of documentation that is available to you, and it's ready to build. So today we support Google, Facebook, and Twitch. We're working on other ones. You can see Apple on the list. You can see Slack on the list. If there's one that you'd like to see but it's not here, come find me after this talk. So now I want to show you a demo where we have an integrated application that uses ZK login. If you attended yesterday's hackathon demo, then you may have seen ZK Send and ZK Login actually in action. So here's the second video. All right. So if you want to experience ZK login for yourself using your email, please stop by the Sui booth after this talk. You'll be able to experience the magic of how quick, how easy it is to use ZK login. So what does this mean for the ecosystem? It is a new thing. It is a different primitive for L1. So if you're a wallet builder, well, maybe the users will not download a wallet. Maybe the users will not be installing browser extension plugins, but they still have problems around navigating through multiple apps, working with different types of assets and different use cases and different constraints on these assets. Users, when they use ZK login, they may not want to have their email addresses to be seen on chain. They want to have that privacy preservation property. But what if a major app is doing a giant airdrop? I probably want my email to be available and discoverable by the apps. So there's still a lot of interesting problems and innovation that can be solved. So if you're every other app in the ecosystem, now you don't have to worry about the wallet. When you're thinking about how come users isn't signing up into my app, how come they don't get very far? Well, you now have end-to-end control of the entire onboarding experience. Your actual app's adoption are no longer blocked by the frictions of user onboarding. And now you can focus. You want to just focus on making your app super cool, super fun, and super engaging. So businesses and consumers have common problems. They both need solutions that are secure. They both need solutions that are reliable, that are scalable, that are seamless, that are elegant, and that can be delightful. And we believe ZK login brings that to both of these audiences. So this is ZK login. This is a Sui innovation that marries ZK technology and ZK innovation with the problem of mass consumer onboarding. This is a Sui innovation that really takes the good properties of Web3 that's born out of blockchain, that privacy and that security, and make that possible to users that are now used to Web2 that does not give them the same kind of guarantee. Thank you for listening to this talk. I hope you're as excited about ZK login as I am. Thank you.